Good afternoon, it's meteorologist Michael Feca. Welcome back to the 14 First Alert streaming show we do here every afternoon starting at 2:30 Monday through Friday. We start off with a look at our forecast and then we'll transition over to Jamie and Rob for a look at your top news headlines as we go through this afternoon. But let's get started here. We'll start off with a look at the weather headlines. And of course, we have mostly sunny skies out there right now. That chance for a spot shower, but really most of us are going to stay dry for the rest of our day today. However, scattered showers and thunderstorms do increase as we head into this weekend. We'll have a frontal boundary work its way in from the west, and then beyond that frontal boundary as we head into next week, unfortunately, it doesn't really look like it's going to cool us down too much. We're probably still going to remain seasonably hot and humid through next week, and we do have that marginal risk for a few severe thunderstorms Saturday and Sunday, but we do have that alert in effect for Saturday afternoon, and again, it's going to be an isolated risk, and I'll talk on that first alert weather day coming up in just a minute here. But let's go look outside what's happening right now. Current temperatures, a lot of us have already warmed all the way back up into the lower 90s, 93 degrees right now in Evansville, 92 in Henderson, 95 up towards Oakland City, but you may have noticed it's quite humid out there, so that makes those feels like temperatures up into the upper 90s to right around 100. Feels like 96 in Evansville, but it feels like 100 out towards Lewisport and even around 104 up towards Oakland City. So definitely still pretty hot and sticky out there. But looking at our current setup across the U.S., we have this area of high pressure built off to our south. That is providing that very warm and humid air mass that's kind of allowing for these pop-up showers and storms all across the deep south and across the southeast coast. Again, here we have that chance for a spot shower to continue to develop, but we're really expecting most of us to stay dry through this afternoon. Now off to our north, we have that frontal boundary that's bringing some unsettled weather to portions of the northern plains and in the Great Lakes states. And then we've got this cold front with this low pressure system. That is going to be the same frontal boundary that is going to work into our neck of the woods for this weekend. But looking at our current radar here, again, we've got that chance for a spot shower popping up. Right now we've got one lone shower up towards Jasper and Du Bois County, and then one in southeastern White County there. The rest of us are all dry, and we're looking at those puffy cumulus clouds that are typically associated with fair weather. So really not expecting much of an issue as we go through the rest of the day today. Again, a spot shower possible, but we'll stay dry through the overnight hours, and then we'll have maybe a few clouds and a light shower possible early Saturday morning. And then as we get into Saturday afternoon, that's where we have that chance for scattered showers and storms. But looking at our storm risk for today, again, we have the chance for maybe a spot shower or downpour, but nothing severe expected in our area. Off to our northwest, up through portions of Iowa and Illinois there, they do have that level 3 out of 5 risk for severe storms. But it's that same frontal boundary that's going to slide its way here as we get into this weekend. So that's why we have that, again, very isolated chance for a strong or even severe thunderstorm, isolated level 1 out of 5 for Saturday and then again on Sunday. But it does look like the coverage of those showers and storms on Sunday aren't as great. So we haven't really issued one for Sunday yet. It's just in effect for Saturday. And again, an isolated damaging wind gust can't be ruled out with maybe even some hail. And then of course we have that isolated localized flooding threat with all that moisture we have in the air. Some of those storms could produce 1 to 2 inches of rainfall in just 1 hour. Taking a look at each individual risk, again, we're sitting at that level 1 for hail, wind, and flooding. The good news is we're not really concerned with any tornado threat along this frontal boundary. So let's time it all out. We'll wake up Saturday morning to mostly sunny skies, maybe a few clouds out there, but it's going to be a really nice day through the first part of the afternoon. It's not until 3-4 o'clock that we start to see that frontal boundary work its way in from the northwest, and right along the leading edge of that is where we'll see some of those showers and storms lighting up. And you'll notice that as they push into the tri-state, they kind of weaken and fall apart as they do so. So that's why we're really only sitting at that level 1 risk. It doesn't look like a huge widespread severe weather threat at all, but it is something I still want you guys to pay attention to, especially if you have outdoor plans. If you're going to be at the pool, on any open water, it's always kind of the worst place to be caught, even in any regular thunderstorm. So just want you guys to pay extra attention to the skies tomorrow as you go about your day. Definitely don't think you need to cancel or reschedule anything. All those showers and storms will move out of here as we get into Saturday evening, and then that frontal boundary kind of lags behind as we head into Sunday, but it looks like it lags off just to our south, and right to our south, that's where it could ignite again a few more showers and storms. But you'll notice the coverage of those showers and storms are are a lot less, and looks like it's mostly focused to our southwest of the tri-state. But then again, as we head into the overnight hours of Sunday, then we'll start to see everything kind of calm down a bit again. Now, outside of that threat for an isolated damaging wind gust, we do have that flooding threat. Most of that for today remains off to our northwest. Tomorrow, we have that isolated risk. Again, if you get caught in a really heavy downpour, maybe you have 1 or 2 storms move over the same area more than once, that could lead to some localized areas of flooding. And then same thing there for Sunday. But looking at your rain and storm chances as we go through the rest of this weekend, they'll peak for Saturday and Sunday, and then it looks like we'll have a brief ridge of high pressure build in, at least for Monday and Tuesday. We'll still have that chance for maybe an afternoon shower or a pop-up storm, but again, it looks like it'll remain mostly dry, and then better chances for scattered showers and storms arrive for the middle and end of next week as we expect another frontal boundary to kind of work its way into the area. So here's a look at your weekend outlook for the rest of today. Again, it's going to be nice and sunny out there. Temperatures will warm up into the low to mid 90s. We're already at around 93, so maybe tacking on another degree or 2 there over the next few hours. Scattered showers Saturday and Sunday helps cool temperatures down a little bit. 92 for Saturday, a little bit cooler there on Sunday, topping out only in the upper 80s. Now, looking at the longer range European model, once we get through this weekend, here's a look at that cold front sliding off to our east, and then there's that brief ridge of high pressure that builds in through Monday. And again, we'll stay mostly dry, but you'll see there is some of that light green color there indicating an isolated shower is possible in the afternoon. Same thing on Tuesday. And then as we get into Wednesday, we'll start to see this area of low pressure build off to our northwest, and that'll feed in some extra moisture. And then that frontal boundary working its way in will help ignite the chance for some more scattered showers and storms for Wednesday into Thursday, possibly lingering into next Friday. Now, when I showed you this dew point trend yesterday, we were tracking this cold front moving through this weekend. It looked like we were going to see a little bit more relief. However, it looks like that front has kind of weakened a little bit. So looking at the muggy meter, we're expected to stay right where we are, even with that frontal boundary moving through. So unfortunately, that's why we mentioned it's going to stay seasonably hot and humid. So really not much relief from that front as it moves through. But looking ahead for the period of July 17th through the 21st, it does look like we'll start to at least average out to near normal, with maybe that chance for some slightly cooler than average temperatures as we head towards the end of the month of July. So if you're not a fan of all this heat and humidity, it does look like there is an end in sight for it. However, you can't complain too much. Temperatures have been mostly around average. It's really the humidity that's really been ticking us off here. But looking at the next 7 days, 92 degrees for our Saturday, right around average for Sunday, and then climbing back up into the lower 90s for the middle and end of next week. So there's a look at your 7-day forecast. Again, we have that alert in effect for Saturday afternoon. That's going to be along that frontal boundary. It looks like storms will likely hold off until at least 3 o'clock and continue through around 8. And then again, isolated risk for a damaging wind gust. Nothing widespread is expected for that. So don't really need to cancel any plans, but I do recommend you at least keep an extra close eye on the skies. If you see something dark rolling your way, make sure you have a way to at least take shelter from it, even if it is just a regular old thunderstorm. But that is all I have for the forecast here. I'm going to take a look at the comments real quick to see if you guys have any questions. It says Laura Gray, she's watching from work in between customers in Dawson Springs. We're glad that you're stopping by here on the 2:30 afternoon stream. And then Connie says that we're having a family reunion on Sunday, so hopefully no bad storms. Well, there is that possibility, but again, I don't really think it's going to be a widespread threat, and it doesn't look like there's anything particularly dangerous about these storms. This is a pretty common threat we get here in the summer, those level 1 marginal risks. With any thunderstorm, you could always develop a damaging wind gust. So again, nothing too crazy, but we did want to highlight that potential for you with that first alert weather day. And it looks like Stephanie is asking for total rainfalls or total rainfall amounts. Well, it's kind of hard to say, especially with these thunderstorms, because they're going to be so concentrated, especially with the heavy rainfall. Some folks may only get a ½ an inch of rain or none at all, and some folks may get as much as 2 inches from just one storm. So it really does just depend on where you're standing and if you get hit with one of those showers or storms. So unfortunately, I can't give you a better answer than that, but it is possible that with any heavier downpour, you could develop some localized flooding issues as well. So keep an eye on that, and if you do develop any flooding, just make sure you don't drive through any flooded roadways. Of course, that's always the worst thing that you can do. But that's all the comments I see, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll take that commercial break and we'll send things over to Jamie and Rob for a look at your news headlines for the rest of this afternoon.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices. Live from 14 News, this is a 14 Digital News Desk update.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our 2:30 streaming show. I'm Jamie French.
And I'm Robinson Miles. And first of all, congrats. You made it to Friday.
You did it.
Big deal.
Yeah,
way to treat yourself. And what better way to treat yourself than to hang out with us for a little bit? It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Us, for sure.
All right. Now, sadly, our first headline actually has to do with, even though we're in the middle of summer, eyes forward, back to school. We actually have some preliminary stuff getting underway to prep for the upcoming school season. Namely, the Salvation Army is kicking off their annual Stuff the Bus school supply drive and giveaway.
That's right. Area Walmart stores are collecting donations today and tomorrow. And this school supplies drive will benefit Vandenberg and Warwick County K-12 students. So school supplies can be collected at several Walmart locations. South Red Bank Road Walmart, the one on North Burkhart Road, and also High Point Drive in Newburgh. You can just go to those Walmarts. A shopping list will be available, and that will tell you what you can buy if you'd like to donate. And then it's pretty simple. You walk outside and you drop it in a collection box, and then 2 men in a truck will take that back to the Salvation Army. That then gets sorted through and prepared to be distributed to some local families.
Now, the families needing assistance with back-to-school supplies are invited to attend the giveaway event on Saturday, July 19th at the Salvation Army's facility on Fulton Avenue in Evansville. Now, it might be a little bit blasphemous of me, but I love back-to-school shopping.
I do, too.
I love that whole thing.
I think it's exciting. You know, kids are getting all new things and whatnot, especially a great event like this. They're able to go and pick out what pens and pencils and folders they want. And that, I remember doing that as a kid, and that was so fun. I loved it.
You know, I loved it enough, especially my mom was a 5th grade teacher, so we were in it when it came to school supplies and all that. And so even now, when it comes time, I'll buy myself a notebook or like a couple pens.
You're ready to go back to school, but it's just
100%.
back to work.
I just love that feeling. It's like, what am I going to use this notebook for?
For sure.
We'll find out.
Sure.
But I just love that so much. It's fun. It's fine.
It is.
I don't have a problem. So to round out our stories today, another fun one, the Perry County Fair starts today. Now, they kicked off opening ceremonies this morning. And then earlier today, there was the 4-H rabbit show and horse show. Tons going on today. Also, the dairy cattle show gets underway in just a few minutes here at 3.
That's right. And then the livestock shows continue on today. 4:30 is the dairy goat show. At 5 o'clock, it's the motocross races there on the track that you're seeing. 6:30 is the Perry County King and Queen contest, so crowning some new royalty for the 2025 fair. The fair will run until Monday, so you have all this weekend to enjoy it. Admission is $10 per person.
I love that we live in an area where so many of these happen during the summer.
It is county fair season,
and
folks.
they stagger them. They're
Yes.
smart.
Oh,
they
yeah.
know what they're doing. And they each have the specialty foods and activities and stuff like that. So endless fun if you're up for it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, for all of us, we do have a resident expert on county fairs here in the newsroom, our beloved Jamie French. So
Yeah.
if someone hasn't gone out and experienced the county fair, what's the appeal? Why do they need to go out and participate?
Yeah, it's a really good opportunity for the youth in the community to sort of get out of their shell. You know, it's the middle of the summer. They're not doing the regular school activities, so they can kind of participate in some other events. Motocross. I mean, how fun for kids to get out there
So
on their
fun.
dirt bikes and race. I mean, incredible. Also, the ability to show animals for our agriculture kids. I mean, that's a huge thing in itself. And then even the pageants, the king and queen contests, kids getting up on stage and competing.
I
I
love
mean,
that so
it really
much.
gets them out of their shell and lets them show off some other skills outside of like the normal school setting since we're in the middle of summer. So it's all about the kids, all about the family.
Plus, if you just love greasy food,
Oh my goodness.
in abundance.
That is
they
just
don't
like
mess
the icing
around.
on top. Oh my goodness. You get the funnel cakes and the deep fried Twinkies
Come
and
on.
Oreos. Then you can always find like a good ribeye sandwich, some sort of meat somewhere. So good stuff.
You know, where I grew up in western Wyoming, we lived about a block and a half from the Lincoln County Fair. Think about that.
Okay.
Not a lot of people know what I'm talking
No.
about. Lincoln County Fair, but it was amazing. That's just what we did for dinner all week. We just like
Oh,
walk
yeah.
to the fair, get something super
Oh
healthy
yeah,
for
you don't have to grocery shop during Fair Week.
It's amazing.
because
Why
you just
would
eat
you?
there.
That'd be
Yeah.
gross.
No.
Yeah. What are you?
Yeah.
It's irresponsible, if anything
Absolutely.
else. Well, thank you so much for carving a little bit of time out of your Friday to spend with us. Of course, we've got all these stories and a whole lot more that we'll go into in a lot more detail ahead on 14 News at 4, 5, and 6. And then, of course, tonight at 14 News at 10.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Have a great day.